Good morning, everyone, and thank you for joining our webinar today on the topic of protecting your business against sophisticated automated attacks. My name is Richard Fridge, and I'm joined today by our presenters, Mark Phillips, VP of Solution Architecture, EMEA and APAC at Human, and Peter Craig, Director of Cybersecurity Product Marketing, also at Human. Please feel free to ask questions in the Q&A box throughout the talk, and we'll run through them and those that we can cover at the end. And I'll hand you over to Peter to kick things off. Over to you, Peter.
Thanks, Rich, for that introduction. So thank you to all of you for attending the presentation today. So this is Peter speaking. Mark and I will be sharing the presentation today. Mark and I have been in cybersecurity for many years, and actually this is the third company at which we've worked together. We think Human's got a great message and a great product, and we're really looking forward to discussing that with you today. So today what we're going to do is we're going to talk about bots. We're going to talk about some research and the attitude of your peers to bots. We're going to look at some case studies, some approaches to bot mitigation that aren't working, and then some suggestions as to how we can help you stop bots from disrupting your web applications. So a statistic for you, first of all, bots are used in the attack path for 77% of cyber criminal attacks. So what bots give adversaries is scale, and cyber criminals love scale, and they can get scale through automation and sophisticated bots. So if we can stop bots, that makes it significantly harder for them to scale their attacks against your organization or against your application. But it's not always about crime. Some bot activities aren't criminal, just unethical perhaps. Perhaps they're creating fake accounts or ticket scalping. These aren't crimes, but they can lead to a ruined customer experience or a loss of trust in your platform. So these are significant attacks, and they're attacks that you need to stop. Just think back about the debacle around buying PlayStations last Christmas related to bots. Bots weren't being used to do anything illegal, but they did ruin some customer experiences and some Christmases. And Mark, you've got a bit more to add on this, haven't you?
Yeah, thanks, Peter. Just at that point about them being used in the attack path, just an anecdote from a proof of value we ran last year for an organization that came to us who they were a media streaming company. They had the issue of new account creation by bots then being used to generate fake likes, fake plays, that kind of stuff. They also had an issue with them putting unsavory comments in the comment section, which was basically spam advertising things that weren't very nice. And they came to us. We solved that problem for them. But the desirable unexpected side effect was that the anti-fraud team, who we weren't engaged with at the time, saw a sharp decline in credit card fraud. So it kind of just makes the point that, you know, although we weren't looking to do that, although that's one of the things we do also do, we were looking at kind of bots or bad automation, malicious bots at the transmission phase, which we prevented. That also had a knock-on effect where a lot of anti-fraud teams look at the transactional phase, but they saw a decrease there as well. So that's quite interesting, just showing that if you stop the bots, you stop the attacks. And at that point, again, about making it harder to scale attacks, reminded me of, I think it was about this time last year with the Microsoft Exchange, the internet-facing web servers were compromised. So in an attack like that, you would use automation or bots to go out and probe 100,000 internet-facing web servers for vulnerabilities, known or unknown. And when they're discovered, you could repurpose those bots to go and compromise those. So, you know, attacks at scale do use automation. So stop the bots, and it makes it harder to scale attacks.
So let's have a look at the problem, and we're going to look here at some research about how modern bots have evolved and your peers' reaction to these bots. So the first piece of research I'd like to point out is from a piece of research done by Human and Dark Reading. And it says that there's 75% of organizations have seen significant levels of negative bot-driven impact on their digital transformation initiatives. Now, if you'd like to know more about this dark reading research, we will be hosting a subsequent webinar that is going to be 100% about this dark reading research, so you can learn more about that. So please look out for that one. But significant impact on their digital transformation initiatives. And 90% of security leaders agree that future-proofing their organization requires understanding this next generation of modern bots. But how prepared are they for this threat? 78% of organizations are only using distributed denial of service protection, web application firewall, or perhaps the bot mitigation feature in their content delivery network. And this just isn't enough to combat the sophistication of bots today. 84% of bots are believed to be controlled by sophisticated cyber criminals. And they're using all of their resources to scale up their attacks to try and steal your business and ruin your customers' experience. So we need to do something about this. So here's an example where human helped an organization discover the extent of their bot problem. Now, you'll be familiar with the concept of scalping, where bots buy up all the stock from e-commerce sites, create demand, and then sell these items for a profit. Now, this can lead to a poor customer experience. Perhaps customers lose trust in your platform. They have to go elsewhere for their products, possibly never to return. And today, customers vote with their virtual feet. Now, in this organization, they did have some bot protection in place, but the team were suspicious that this wasn't picking up the problem. So they thought something was going on, but they weren't quite sure how to determine what was happening. So this is where human got involved. We deployed our detection tag on the website, and we were immediately able to determine that they did indeed have a bot problem. And we'll talk a little bit more about that tag I mentioned later. So we discovered that the organization was under attack from a botnet that was circling through 20 different bot agents. So that's 20 different pieces of software pretending to be home users, and circling through more than 14,000 home user IP addresses to try and evade detection by the organization's defenses. So we discovered, so if you look at the graph on the right-hand side, you can see the level of sophistication. The bots are mimicking human behavior. If you look at the horizontal time scale, you can see that the bots are getting up in the morning, doing a bit of work, having a break for lunch, and then getting back to it in the afternoon, and then tailing off in the evening. So what they're mimicking is normal human traffic patterns. And they do this because if they were going hell for leather, 100% at every moment of the day, things like web application firewalls will be able to pick that up as bot behavior and stop it. And this is where we need more sophisticated solutions, because if the bots are becoming this sophisticated, we need ways of getting this insight and doing something about the problem. So on the right-hand side, you can see the list of ISPs that the residential IP addresses were from. And again, if you look at the proportion of the traffic over the day, you can see that it stays basically the same over that period. Again, this is more evidence of automation of these bots. So we presented these data to the customer, and they were very keen that we investigated further. So we took these and we began fingerprinting the bot profile. Now in figure 2 here, you can see some more information that we were able to gather from the investigation that took place. And we can see that the bots here are targeting event sites, but the sophistication goes further. They were also looking into sports league websites to see where the events were taking place. They were looking at news sites so they could see what was trending. obviously important events might generate more profit. They were even looking in the miscellaneous section, they were even looking at government websites to check whether COVID restrictions had been lifted in certain locations, as of course that's going to influence price and demand. And as I mentioned, bot detection was already in place, but this activity was completely missed by the web application firewall that they'd implemented. And this is why we're seeing this shift in organizations moving from web application firewalls or features to dedicated bot management solutions. So much like you shifted 10 years ago from signature-based antivirus to next generation antivirus, or packet filtering firewalls to next generation firewalls, organizations are seeing the need for specialized bot management solutions to get the level of detection and insight to deal with this serious problem. So, as I mentioned, we deployed our detection tag on this platform, and we were immediately able to determine that they did have this bot problem, as you can see in these figures. We didn't do any further customization or tuning to integrate with the customer environment. The customers now implemented human bot guard further, and we're now using bot guard decisions to mitigate the attack.
Here's another example. This was from another proof of value we ran for a high street retailer with a significant online presence. So just walk you through this. This was web browsing. This is the user journey on this device from a Samsung Galaxy tablet coming from a UK home broadband network. So nothing strange here. Web browsing for clothes by the look of it. But notice what we saw post login. We saw another session, another user agent, which was a bot session, only appear when that user went to a part of the website that had information that was useful to someone to steal. So you can see it's in the safeguard my account, where there's PII in there, personal information, and then also saved credit card data. It's true to say that a lot of that, the credit card will be asterisks, but what we see happening is cyber criminals want to verify that a whole stash of stolen credit cards are valid or not. So they will use that to cycle through them to make sure that this stash of 10,000, 1,000 of them are valid and will work, and then they'll sell them on for a higher price. So this was really evidence of sophistication, of a sophisticated bot. So Peter and I have been in cyber for a long time, but I'm quite new to bot mitigation. The last year or so I've been working at Human, but this really blew me away, that the level of sophistication. And this organization actually went to their CDN. Again, they had some form of bot mitigation in place at the CDN. They also had a WAF, but they said to them, for this type of attack, it wouldn't pick it up. You need a dedicated solution looking at this kind of stuff. This organization were really pleased with this. And what they also liked is that they could, rather than just kill the session or lock the user out, we were able to kill the bot session, stop that from happening, but still allow that user to continue on their journey. Imagine if they were buying a really high value item, we locked them out. Likelihood is they probably installed some application, some app on their Android device that was malicious, that was doing this. But then if we just kill the session or lock them out, we've prevented them from making that high purchase item on their website. So rather than do that, we can kill the bot session, allow them to continue. We present them with different options. Maybe we could send them to a holding page saying, we think your device is compromised, you need to clean it, or send them an email afterwards. The organization really liked that they could have that sort of value add for their customers that's kind of thinking about security to protect them, because it's unlikely this user knew they were on a compromised device. So what's the traditional approach to stopping bots or automation? What do we normally see? I mean, I'm sure you're all familiar with CAPTCHAs. It's the gift and the curse of CAPTCHAs, being asked to tick all the squares with a crosswalk or a traffic light, maybe a necessary evil. I'm a human, honestly, and I sometimes get it wrong. So, CAPTCHA is one way, but a quick search on your favorite search engine will show you that CAPTCHA isn't the be all and end all of stopping bots. Here's one you found. If you go to a search engine, type in CAPTCHA defeat or how to get around CAPTCHA, you'll find many services. This is one of a few I've chosen. 99.99% uptime since 2007, a pay-as-you-go model solving Google reCAPTCHA. And interesting here that they use real people to solve CAPTCHAs in real time, doing some good by raising people out of poverty in some countries by having them solve CAPTCHAs, an easy API integration. So they make it very easy. Here's another one of my favorites. This is Death by CAPTCHA. These guys use machine learning to solve CAPTCHAs in under 9 seconds. They say best CAPTCHA solver service. They've got testimonials there. So the Death by CAPTCHA is the cheapest and probably the best deCAPTCHA service, and multiple ways to pay as well, making it really easy. So CAPTCHA's one way. Of course, it's not bulletproof, as we've seen. But what's the human's answer? What do we do different? What makes us unique? Well, just to think about a question, what's the one thing that you're likely to see on the internet today? Or actually anywhere, to be fair, television, walk down the road, but one thing that you're guaranteed almost to see on the internet today. Yeah, ads. Some web pages are worse than others, but it's likely that you will see an advert on the internet, which sounds a funny thing to say. And Peter, do you want to expand on that? Why that's important to what we're talking about?
Yes, thanks, Mark. And yeah, actually, it's what makes human different is ads. And as you say, it seems a strange thing to assert for a cybersecurity presentation that ads are important. But I'm sure you in the audience are aware that every time an ad is served to you, it goes through an auction process where your attention is sold to the highest bidder. Well, this process is secured by human. And the reason for that is that advertisers don't want to advertise to bots. And humans' business is founded on stopping unethical website publishers using bots to fraudulently generate advertising revenue by getting bots to click on their adverts. Now, we've been stopping this type of fraud for more than 10 years, and we're the dominant supplier of bot detection technology in the ad security market. So what does that mean? Well, it means that more than 85% of global advert impressions are verified through human. So more than 85% of the adverts you see have been seen by human. And it's an incredible number, but human secures 15 trillion interactions weekly. Now, our focus today is on application security, but I'm using these figures to make it clear about what makes our solution different. And what makes our solution different is that every ad on the internet is a sensor for human. Knowing what sophisticated bots look like requires finding them, detecting them. And we see them all over the internet. And we see more than any other vendor because of this reach. Almost every ad collects bot signal for human. So we've already seen more than 85% of users in our advertising security solution before they've even tried to log in to your web application. And this is the reason that we consistently find bots and abuse that other solutions from other bot mitigation providers do not. And it's this scale advantage that makes the difference. So when you search, shop, stream, or socialize online, you're contributing to humans' collective protection. Now, on this slide here, they're the logos of some of our customers. Some you'll recognize, but the big one at the top is the one that probably stands out. So Google uses human. Now, if human can scale to the needs of Google, if human can provide the protection that Google needs, I'm sure you'd agree with me that human is going to meet the needs of most organizations out there. So Google has some of the best engineers in the world. They rarely work with third-party vendors because they've got the ability in-house to make whatever technology they need. However, with human, our signal is so unique and our detection capability and precision is so good that it's human that protects Google from bots. And just again, to emphasize this, what makes us different is this scale, the 15 trillion verifications per week, the collective protection. And with the scale and observability, we can enhance our 2,500 detection signals that we gather with every internet interaction. We crunch them through 350 algorithms. And by doing this, we can provide you with the decisions and insights with the scale, speed, and precision that you need to safeguard your applications and services. And not only that, we've built this insight, we've built this threat intelligence with over 10 years of combating your adversaries. And with that, we can disrupt cybercrime and lower the cost of this collective defense. And Mark, you had a bit more to say about that, didn't you?
Yeah, thanks, Peter. I think it's fair to say that these three pillars are probably the basis for any good cybersecurity company. It's important to have these three. I think I've been fortunate to work at companies that have had this before, and this makes us unique. This superior detection, so we don't rely on static block lists. If it looks like a bot and behaves like a bot, it's a bot. We look at real technical evidence, the network and device layer, not just a list of IP addresses, and that gives us superior detection. Again, observability and scale. Any machine learning, every vendor now talks about machine learning. That those algorithms are only as good as the data that it's fed with. So because we have such a vast data of what is a human and not, and through our digital interactions, that means our machine learning is second to none. And then the third pillar is obviously people, overlaid with real people. We talk about automation and bots, but there are people behind them. And so we look to attribution to put these people behind bars or bring them to justice. And like I said, when we work with organizations, we know they've already got something. They've got a tick box in a WAF or a tick box in a CDN, but it just doesn't cut it. Maybe for denial of service, but for the types of things we've talked about, those sophisticated attacks, they're just not able to see. And so we invite prospects we'll show you who's real. You don't know what you don't know. So as Peter said before, with one line of code, we run our tag for a number of weeks and we show you who's real and what's being missed. So we talked a lot about sophistication and sophisticated attackers, sophisticated bots. What does, sophisticated bot mitigation look like, although easy to use? So what we do at Human is a bit different. We don't want to put the onus on a human to prove they're a human. Introducing friction into your application or your product can put people off. My mother's 80 years old. If she has to solve a CAPTCHA or do something like that, she'll probably just go to another web page that makes it easier. So what we do is, if we can determine with a very high accuracy, because we do, whether this is a human or not, if it's a human, then we don't need to show it a CAPTCHA. So we work with organizations, depending on what the use case is, whether it's a login page, if it's scraping, or if it's a sign up, we can do different things. Maybe we can introduce multi-factor authentication. Maybe we can look at highlight the session, send the alert to a SIM, and maybe limit the amount of transactions that user can make. We could terminate the user session. Killing the IP address is one thing, but often bots just repurpose and spin up on a new IP address. We could notify the user by an email or text. So we work with organizations to work out the best solution for them. We don't want too much friction, but when we see automation, what's the best and most effective solution that will work for your business? It's not a one size fits all.
Thanks, Mark. So just in summary then, so bots are a growing threat. They're used in the attack path for 77% of cybercriminal attacks. It's not just about crime, it's also about fraud. It's also about ensuring that your customer experience remains delightful for your customers. And if we can stop bots, it makes it makes it significantly harder for cyber criminals to scale attacks against your organization and against all organizations. What makes Human different is that Human verifies the humanity of more than 15 trillion transactions per week in the ad security space, where Human is the dominant provider. And what this means is that we've got the most unique signal and the most accurate bot detection in the industry. And because we precisely detect bots, that means we can ensure that real customers access your applications, but we're able to introduce friction to bots. Now, if you want to try this out, it's straightforward, and we'll work with you to install a single line of code on your website. And if you're suspicious that you've got a bot problem, we'll be able to show you the bot impact, the bot traffic that's impacting your business. So thank you very much for listening. I trust you find that useful. If you'd like to know more, or if you'd like to arrange a trial, Mark's and my email addresses are here on the slide. We'll leave this up. We'd be very glad to hear from you. But we're going to stop there, and I'm going to ask Rich if there are any questions from the audience.
Yes, absolutely. Thanks, Peter and Mark. That was excellent. And yeah, we've had a handful of questions come in throughout the talk. So the first of which is on the topic actually of privacy. So probably one for Mark's color, I suspect, but it's, do I need to update my web/cookie consent policy to allow your tech to run on our website?
Oh, yeah, I'll take that one. No, you don't. I guess in the last few years, we've seen that annoying pop-up that no one bothers to read about. Do you consent, yes or no? We don't drop any cookies. We don't use cookies. We're not tracking people. We don't collect PII. We're not interested in tracking people around the internet. So there's no privacy concerns. We have statements on GDPR and privacy we can share as well. But no, you don't have to worry about that. You don't have to update your cookie policy or anything.
Nice one. Cheers, Mark. And actually, we touched on sort of taking the onus away from the user in terms of proving they're a human and trying to remove friction. And the next question actually touches on that, around making the user experience seamless. It's around performance. So it says, is there any performance impact on our website to run your detection tag?
Oh, okay. Yeah. No. So the tag runs synchronously. So it doesn't hold up any web traffic at all. It runs at the page loads. You'll probably be running many tags around analytics on the website anyway. It's just one additional one. It runs client side as well, so it doesn't impact any server side performance. So it's invisible, unknown to the user. It just runs and detonates and collects our technical evidence to determine if it's a human or bot.
Super. And there's one final question that's just come in on the topic of integration options. So do you have any other integration options to avoid placing a tag directly on our web page?
Well, I'll take that one, Rich. So certainly, yeah, that one option for integrating human into your platform, your web application, is the tag. But there are other options as well. So something that we've got is a plugin into common web servers. So for example, we've got a plugin into the Nginx web server, which is the most widely used web server today. So what this does is provide the developer with turnkey integrations to BotGuard's mitigation API. So what that means is you can integrate BotGuard into the web server inline to detect bots, to stop bots, with only making a few changes into your Nginx configuration. And then also we can integrate into content delivery network, CDN solutions. We've got a module so that we can integrate BotGuard into Fastly, into Cloudflare, and also into AWS CloudFront. And again, you know, because it's a module, it's another way to easily integrate BotGuard into those sort of best of breed content delivery networks. And then again, not so much related to the tag, but another integration option is we can also integrate with identity and access management vendors such as Ping and Okta, where we can deliver that bot or not decision to those identity and access management solutions, so that if it is a bot decision, the identity solution can provide an access denied message, or they can step up the authentication, so add some friction and challenge the bot with multi-factor authentication, for example. So yes, there's a number of integration options for bot guard and human.
Brilliant. Thanks, Peter. So that's all of our questions, and that's perfectly timed, right on time. So thank you again for joining. If you want to know more, feel free to drop an email to Peter or Mark, or connect with us on LinkedIn. Thank you for your time today. We look forward to seeing you again on our next webinar, hopefully, and speaking to you again soon in the future. All the best. Thank you.